How's everyone doing here tonight? Just on here, getting all set up for 8 o'clock. Turn this a little bit more like this. All right, now I get on here and share it. Michelle gives me a little wave from the grave. Hey, Michelle. Let's see here. Share that to Brian Hoag's page, that Brian Hoag guy. Let's see. Share it to Harrisville Haunted House. And to the ChillerNight Facebook group page. There we go. Okay, looks like we're all shared, about as shared as we're going to be. That's how it's looking. All right. Tom says, good evening back. Hey! I said it on YouTube. I didn't know it was going to be back on. Okay, cool. Roger says, good evening. How are you? Good, Roger. How are you doing tonight? Craig says, hi. Hey, Craig. Thanks for joining us. Dova Bread says, hey, man, good vibes. All right. Thanks for joining us. Oh, and it is 8 o'clock. Officially time to begin. Everybody, this is Brian Hoag. Welcome to the ChillerNight Live pre-show, where from 8 p.m. until a few minutes shy of 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we get on here and chat, you and I, and you with each other, and talk about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal, basically whatever you want to throw into the the chat as a topic. We do a little bit of everything, I guess. We're a very well-rounded group of chiller maniacs. I'll say that. Dave says, hey Dave, thanks for joining us. Juxpa says, phew, just in time. I am so happy to see that YouTube is back on tonight. Paul says, hey guys, what's up? What happened Friday night? And where can I watch? Where on Friday? We didn't do one last night, Paul, because that caused too many problems last time with YouTube taking it down. Keith's dad says, I love watching these. Oh, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. John says, while you... And John, I told you earlier it was just going to be on Facebook, because I thought it was only going to be on Facebook. I thought it wasn't going to be on YouTube until like April or something. But anyway, John says, you are defrosting from the latest snowstorm or cold snap. We can enjoy another hour of the best time. This is Crozak the Grand, and it is time for ChillerNight Pre-Show with our host and star, Brian Hoag. Well, thank you very much. I much appreciate that. Ghoul World Order says, good evening and happy Vampire Awareness Month. Diablos, Undead Prince of Pennsylvania. All right, I'll go with that. February is Vampire Awareness Month. Paul says, hey Tom, what is up? I remember you saying that last February, and I thought you were referring to Valentine's Day. I think it was Valentine's Day in 1931 when Dracula came out. I could be wrong. Somebody can look that up if they're bored and they care to do it. But this is for your Diablo character, I believe, for your shows, which is pretty cool. David says, good evening. Champagne popped and poured. Cheers. Well, thank you, David. Thanks for joining us. Brian says, hello. Hey, Brian. Terrence says, welcome back. Hello, ChillerNight Theater peeps. Hey, Terrence. Thanks for joining us. Paul says, how are you and your family doing? We're doing really well. We're just, we're a bit snowed in, just like anybody else living up in the regions where we live. But other than that, we're doing very well. Bonehead says, hello, ChillerNight crew, Brian, Ava, and everyone. I'm glad to be able to say hi to everybody. Finally got out of the hospital. Been there since a day after Christmas. Wow, really? Oh my gosh. Well, we're glad you're out of the hospital. Hope you're doing well. I really missed all Ian's. Well, thank you. And I hope that everything's fine. That's a long time to be in the hospital. Cassandra says, hi everyone. Hey Cassandra. Tom says, sitting in front of a big fire just chilling out. Oh, that sounds nice. Brad says, it's a ChillerNight pre-show with Brian Hogue, starring Brian Hogue. Now, here's Brian. What's on tonight, Brian? Well, I'll tell you. Let me put that schedule up. You'll notice a little darker here in the dark domain. One of the, dare I say, should I break that fourth wall there, or whatever they call it? The studio lights, first time since 2015. It's lasted a long time. Actually gave its last little spark of illumination tonight, and it had a good run. It was very dependable, very reliable for all these years, many years. You think about how many Saturday nights for well over 3 years, almost every Saturday night, for at least an hour, that thing was on. So I still got another one, but I have to get a replacement for it. But anyways, let's get that schedule up. All right, here we go. 9 o'clock, new episode, Dementia 13. That's the episode right there, folks, that got YouTube so alarmed and shook up. Yes, the public domain movie known as Dementia 13. So I hope you stick around or hop on over to Stream TV at 9 o'clock. And if you're new here and you're not sure what in the world I'm talking about, I'll explain all that in just a mere moment. 10:35. Again, the time differences are in play, leaving very little time in between, if any at all, in between the movies. So 10:35, the movie is Robot Monster, another one YouTube didn't care for. 11:50, ChillerNight Theater, the movie is The Creeping Terror, and then at 1:25 a.m., the movie is The Screaming Skull. Now, if at any time you forget the schedule, if at any time you're wondering, like maybe after the pre-show, like what time? Because maybe you weren't taking notes. I don't know what you do, but anyways, you can go to streammedia.tv. Okay, the shows won't be shown here on the online pre-show, but you go to streammedia.tv, go there, go to the top, and you can select when it's time. You can select watch live. Okay, then you'll see the program streaming on the site. Now, when you want to know the schedule, they actually, if you go up there to the little menu thing, this is my technical jargon, you can always at any time see the schedule listed there as well. So, didn't know if any of you, or if all of you knew that, especially the new viewers. But there you have it, let's see. Terrence says, Bonehead, hope you're feeling better. Yes, that's something. Keith's dad says, do you have a favorite underrated science fiction movie? A favorite underrated science fiction movie? That's a good question. Science fiction one. I guess I don't know if it's underrated. I'm going to name two of them. They're both John Carpenter movies, and I would say they would. I don't know if the second one really falls into science fiction. I kind of think it does, but I don't know. Maybe you can give me your opinion. First one, it would be They Live. I don't know how underrated that, because I know that that's a big like cult classic type of movie. They Live. Um, but the other one would be Big Trouble in Little China. I guess that would probably be more of an action movie, but it does have a more of a, would it be a science fiction? Maybe a fantasy element to it. I just love that movie. I love both those movies, but especially Big Trouble in Little China with Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell. Excellent, excellent movie. And then, you know, what was going through my head when I was reading that, and then I got to the science fiction part. Now, horror wise, I gotta say another John Carpenter movie, because I'm such a John Carpenter fan, is Prince of Darkness. That is to me, that's a fantastic, very enjoyable horror movie to watch. And I don't know, if the question was posed for a horror movie, that would be my answer there. But They Live, Big Trouble in Little China, kind of, you know, and then Prince of Darkness. And I only say kind of because I don't know what would really qualify that as. That's probably more of a fantasy one, action fantasy. But there you have it. Um, let's see. Bonehead says, that's a good question. Bonehead says, hi, Tom. Glad you remembered me. Missed you, big guy. Yeah. You're unforgettable, Bone, Tom says. Tom says, I think I'm more like unbearable than unforgettable. Brad says, you do a very good job with the Chiller Night pre-show, Brian. Oh, thank you. I very much appreciate that. Thanks. I think it's a fun hour. I have a lot of fun. I love, obviously, you know, why else would I do this? I love horror. I love, you know, science fiction, which I eagerly embrace in the whole chiller genre. And I don't know, I just love that stuff, and I love getting together on Saturday nights and just chatting for the hour. And I hope you enjoy the lineup. Dementia 13. If you've not seen that movie, or if it's been a while, the last time I had seen it was 2009, and I know that because that's when we played it for Sleepy Hollow Theater, the very first show that I had with Jack Shadow, and you know, like Or the Witch on it, and for other characters on there as well. But that's the first time that we actually aired that show. And you'll be seeing segments from that. Remember last week when we were trying to do this online, streaming it live, and then YouTube shut us down, and then Facebook couldn't let that go unchecked, so they took us down as well. In the middle of the show. Well, I went ahead, I explained all this last week, but in case you're new here, I went ahead and I finished the show as if I was reading it. You know, I remember one time, and I made the name so obvious that it wasn't one of you guys. I think Barney wants to know, because I didn't want you guys to think, well, wait a minute, how did they get through and we didn't? So I did a little the show must go on, and it did, by golly. I went ahead and finished the show that night, and so we do have a brand new episode. But I did my segments. I did all my segments. But in addition, because I felt like, wow, that we really got cheated out that night of a nice, enjoyable time together, hour and a half or whatnot. So what I did was I went back for the original Sleepy Hollow Theater episode from back in 2009, and I took segments of it, kind of had it run through, you know, kind of cleaned it up a bit on the editing so that it looked a little, or sounded a little bit better. Or Stream TV actually did that for me, which I appreciate. And then I threw those segments in with the show. So you get to kind of see, you get to see me as the guest host, and you also get to see segments from Sleepy Hollow Theater from back in the day. So, neat little treat. Joe Expo says, you should add a link to your description for us to be able to go to Stream Media. Didn't I do that? I thought I did that. But you know what? That's one of the things, I don't know if I can do that. Maybe because YouTube was saying that I'm taking people away from YouTube, and I don't know how, because I thought that they wanted you to be able to promote sites like that. To this, and I don't want to rehash everything from last week, but I still don't know exactly what. But I do remember that being one of the things in the little narrative. Um, but yeah, I'll try to remember that for next week though. Um, let's see. Qstad says I have that same issue. YouTube sometimes just won't accept some public domain movies. It's awful. It is awful. It is awful. We got shut down. They shut us down last week. But I told you guys I was gonna have a new episode tonight, and we are indeed having it. Brad says in ChillerNight Theater altogether. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know it's not the same with Jack um, not doing the hosting for now, but like I said, just have fun with it. I'll have fun with it. You have fun with it, and we're gonna get through this. But I actually I am having fun with it. And even when that happened, I thought, screw that. I'm gonna finish out the show. I'm gonna finish out the show. They're gonna have a brand new episode next week, for crying out loud. And get all dressed up for nothing, right? So. But it says, but thanks for the compliment, Tom. That's the best medicine I can get right now. Thank you. Wow. Well, I'm glad that I didn't see it, but I'm glad you're doing much, much better. Or I hope you are. So, Terrence says, Brian, I know of 4 or 5 of my favorite YouTubers who've run into the same kind of violation of YouTube's policy, including ChillerNight Theater. Yeah, and it was again. I explained this last week too. I touched on this has been going on for a while, for a long time. And when I say I have this stuff going on throughout the week, and you're probably wondering, well, how you only do this one show a week? How are you getting that? Because they're hitting me with stuff. I have shows on here from years ago when I did Sleepy Hollow Theater. They're not set to public because I don't want to show that show. I want to show ChillerNight Theater. But I still get violation notifications for those shows that I've had on since 2009. So it's very frustrating. What do you want, YouTube? What? So I don't know. Diana says, hi everyone. Hi everybody. Hey Diana, thanks for joining us. Brad says, EGA. We haven't had that on for a while, have we? Have we? I don't know. Brad says, Plan 9 from Outer Space. All very, very good movies. Juxpo says, favorite science sci-fi reanimator. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Now that one I haven't seen since the early to mid 90s. It's been a while. It was on the old VHS. Tom says Carpenter's The Thing is probably my favorite. Oh, yeah, that's a real good one. Paul says The Fog, Escape from New York. They're all good movies, yeah. Keith's dad says great choices. Paul says Adrian Barbu, if I'm saying that last name right. I know who you're talking about. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but we all know who you're talking about. Yeah. Didn't she appear recently in what was she in recently? Maybe it was a Creep Show episode, like on the Shudder channel or something. Or maybe it was the Dawn of the Dead. There was something that she appeared on. Kind of leaning more toward the Creep Show series. But she was in something recently, with the chiller or the horror genre to it. I think. Jason says Prince of Darkness was excellent. My favorite Carpenter film is The Thing. That's a fantastic movie. Hugh Stad said, there's a special place in my heart for Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. Yeah, we played that one on here. That's a good one. That's a real good one. The neat thing about it, The Last Man on Earth was the very first movie that I played on Sleepy Hollow Theater. My very first show. Very first time Jack Shadow did a horror host show. That was the movie that he played. So that was his very first attempt of being a horror host was with that movie, The Last Man on Earth. And as Bill Cardell had told me, that movie had been the inspiration for George Romero for Night of the Living Dead. So, and of course, Bill and George Romero were like super good friends. George had asked, Bill to be in Night of the Living Dead, and he was obviously as the playing himself as the reporter. So that's kind of cool. Pulses. Okay, so hellos back and forth here. Tom says, Adrian, a barbecue? Cool World Order says, what's your favorite vampire movie? My favorite vampire movie? It's a tough one to narrow down to favorite. I mean, and I don't want to spend too much time, digging in here, in all the nooks and crannies of my mind to try to find the favorite one. But I'll tell you, obviously, I don't know. I love movies like Fright Night and The Lost Boys. Those two like pop into my head like when I'm thinking of what's an enjoyable movie that I could go without a moment's notice and just say, okay, yeah, I'll put that on and sit through it and enjoy it. There are movies like that. Even more so than I love Dracula, but was that a true cinematic masterpiece? And I say that because if you actually listen to like film historians like kind of pick it apart, and put the nostalgia to the side, and there are a lot of things to that movie that could have been. I mean, it was good. It was a great movie, in the aspect that we regarded to be held in such high esteem because we love monsters and stuff like that. But I don't know, to sit there and just say, would I rather watch the 1931 Dracula or movie like The Lost Boys or Fright Night? The reason I would be more inclined to do the other ones, which were in the 80s, by the way, and I love that era because it was just such a fun decade for movies, not only horror but action movies and sci-fi, but because I've seen the 1931 movie so many times. I mean, so many times. I love that movie, but I'm gonna go with one of the ones from the 80s that I love like that. Probably toss up between Fright Night and The Lost Boys. Yeah. Let's see. David says, so we can assume that your favorite movie director is John Carpenter. For this type of genre, it is. I also like I mean, there's so many directors that I also love. I love watching their movies. Clint Eastwood, I love watching his movies as director. That last one was, Kevin Costner. I enjoy watching his movies as well. Like, I know that they're, we think of them as actors, probably first and foremost, but they do incredible jobs as directors. But is that my favorite? For this, yes. Um, Cool. Tom says, cool. Hey, Tom. Vigor Warriors, great job. Ah, thank you. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. Paul says, she is still hot. Adrian? Yeah. Some of them don't lose that, do they? Paul says, who is the horror host that were a pumpkin? Who was the horror host that was a pumpkin? A horror host. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know of a pumpkin horror host. Tom says no link. I don't have a link in there. Okay, I'll try. I'll see about putting that in for next week. Brad says you should tell YouTube and say, hey, this is mine, all of it. Yeah, on there. Oh, the content. Yes, I have. Many times. Paul says, how do you get around that issue? What issue is that? How do I get around what issue? The Pumpkin Man? I don't know. I'm not sure if we're talking about the same thing here, but I'm not sure. I don't know what you mean. Paul says, not sure, Tom. How are you doing tonight? But that guy cursed all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not familiar with that. A pumpkin horror host. Terrence says, a YouTuber I watched recently got a strike for a video from 2015. Doesn't that violate some kind of ex post facto law? I don't know. I still get them from stuff that I've had years ago. I still get them. Like I just, as I'm reading my emails daily, I just, oh, there's another one. I mean, it's not every day. I wouldn't have that many on there, but I mean, I get them at least weekly. You know, sometimes I've had as many as 3 in 1 week before, and sometimes I've gone, you know, maybe every other week I'll get one, you know, but it's spaced out like that. But it is a constant, you know, and it's annoying. I can tell you that. Paul says she played Brain Squeeze. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that horror host there, Paul. Bonus says, Paul, I know who you're talking about. He has a show on YouTube and does curse an awful lot. Well then, yeah, he definitely wasn't on mine. Let's see. Goal World Order says Adrian Barbeau was at Living Dead Weekend back in 2019, and I believe she was in the Creep Show series. Yeah, I think that's where I saw her. I think I saw her pop up on one of those newer episodes over the last couple years. Tom says Adrienne Barbeau was married to John Carpenter for many years. Yeah, she's been in a lot of these, and you know, been in a lot of, you know, well, you know, been in several of his movies, obviously. That's kind of like the Rob Zombie thing, you know, him having his wife in all the movies. Hey, why wouldn't you though? You know, if they're a talented actress, and you know, there's no reason not to put them in. Paul says, yes, she did a show on the new Creep Show. Keith's dad says it's also the same movie as Legend with Will Smith. I like the Vincent Price version better. Right. Yeah, it was all based off of the same novel. What was the novel? I Am Legend or something like that, or Legend. Maybe it was just called Legend. I know when I'm hosting the show as Jack Shadow, that's part of the dialogue. You know, we go back to the original source and talk about that a bit. But it's a neat story. It is a neat story, and the creatures that's a kind of a neat creature too, because they're not a zombie, I mean, you have qualities of a zombie and of a vampire. So I think that's kind of neat. Um, Ghoul World Order says, "I got you stumped on figuring out your favorite vampire movie." Yeah, I know. It took me a while, and I don't even know that I really truly gave a hard answer to that. I'm kind of like still, like I said, kind of ping ponging back in my head about it. Because I mean, sometimes I don't know that I can give that definitive favorite. Because there are some nights when I'd even with something like Fright Night or Lost Boys, I would much rather watch a Hammer horror, with Christopher Lee as Dracula. Uh, I don't know. That's a tough one when someone asks me my favorite because I think of that a favorite type of answer as being so locked in, and then it's constantly kind of like you know kind of the flow. There's no. I don't know that there because I don't know that I have that favorite. How could you? There's so many, that I love. Um, Steve Lewis says my favorite vampire movie is Salem's Lot, Toby Hooper. I was thinking of that one too. That one actually did come to mind because when I was a kid and I saw that little mini series, and I watched it as the nights that it was actually on. It was just so scary, as a kid watching that. I remember going to school like the next day and talking to my friends about, did you watch that? What about that part with the kid scratching the glass and yeah, seeing the body that they unearthed and it's sat up in the casket, and it's that one part at the very end there. There's so many good scenes in that, that are really well done. Barlow appearing in the house there. What do you like? Kind of goes through the window and just kind of appears in the kitchen and kills the parents. I think at that point, I'm trying to remember all the, you know, that was pretty heavy stuff for me as a kid. Seeing that stuff, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then the one scene that really stands out, aside from, and the other guy sitting there in the room, he had transferred into a vampire. He's sitting there with the glowing eyes. He's sitting there. I think it was in the hospital room when he's sitting there. But the one scene that really stands out is when at the end when they're in the house, the two heroes of the movie, and you can see that there's behind the young kid. I think it's the kid, and behind him in the cellar, he's sitting there, and you see the bodies crawling toward him. But he doesn't see that. He's sitting in front of the door, and you're seeing these bodies of the vampires crawling. They had such an evil quality to them. And you're like, just like yelling at them, turn around, and he does, and he was able to lock them in there, just in the nick of time. But what a good movie! That was a good one. That was a very good one. But that one actually did pop into my head. Tom says Lugosi stands above them all. Yeah, definitely. As far as like when you say Dracula, that's as much as I enjoy watching the Christopher Lee and the Hammer horror. But yeah, my first because I grew up just loving the Bela Lugosi image is of him. It always will be that way. Um, I always think of him as Dracula. Cassandra says, I love Fright Night. PK Lynch, hey Glam, are you here tonight? How are you? Yeah, maybe she doesn't know that we're on. I didn't know we were going to be on YouTube either. I'm glad to see that. Paul says, also Escape from LA. Well, I really enjoyed Escape from New York. Escape from LA was a yeah, if you like it, you like it. It was a little step down, but yeah, it was a fun one to watch. Sure. Paul says Steve Buscemi. Um, I know who you're. I don't know if I'm saying it right though. Ghoul World Order says, do you suppose people may protest YouTube over the video pulling issue? I have no idea. I don't know. Because, like I said, oh, and then I'll throw the schedule up there. I like to do the beginning of the show, halfway through, and then toward the end again. Because this is all, at least in my little slice of the world, this is just entertainment. It's, I love doing it. It's fun for me. But some people make their livelihood on YouTube, and those are the ones that I've noticed over the last 2 years, especially over the last year, where they can't say certain words, they can't, or they'll say words that sound like, thinking, what country is this anymore? Where you can't say a word, you'll be demonetized. You're gonna have your video pulled. I mean, if they pull my video and take down my channel, I lose a lot of fun stuff that I've done over the years. I don't make a livelihood. I don't make anything from doing this stuff. That's not a complaint. That's just a fact. I'm just on here because I love this stuff, and I enjoy this chatting here with you guys and doing the shows. That's my love and passion. But some people are on here and they make their livelihood. You look at the views they get. It's like 470,000 views. Like, wow! I can't even begin to imagine that. I get like 100, and I'm thinking, that was a pretty decent night, But I can't. That's mind staggering to think of those kind of numbers, I don't know what they did that are, to get that, but good on them, But yeah, they would be the ones that I would think would be the most upset about it. Let's see. Tom says, "How do you protest?" That's a good question. YouTube makes nothing easy unless you're an advertiser. Right? That's a good. Yeah, I don't know. I was actually sitting here learning, like, who do you complain to? I can't get in touch with them. I can submit my complaints, and oh boy, I do. I mean, when they say you did this, no, I didn't. Put in my little answer, and then I send it off to them. But I've never had any direct communication with anybody. I would love to. I'd love to know a lot more about what they're talking about. Let's see. John says, there is the fair use clause that does cover showing movies that is public domain. Is that right? I mean, I'm aware of the fair use clause, but I didn't know something like that would apply for public domain. Maybe I should put that on there. I mean, I don't know. Probably couldn't hurt at this point, huh? Because I would love to do these. I enjoyed the live shows, and I still would like to figure out a way to do that. I don't know. I was thinking about something. Well, let me put the schedule up, and then we'll get back to that. So, all right, 9 o'clock in less than 30 minutes, because I was a little late putting this up. What Dementia 13 on at 9 o'clock. Okay, now 10:35 again. The times are not in increments of 30 minutes anymore. We are going like at 10:35. The next movie is Robot Monster. Then at 11:50, the movie will be The Creeping Terror. And at 1:25, The Screaming Skull. So there you have it. Yeah. Let's see. And again, for those, if you're new here and you're wondering, well, where will I see these movies? It will be at Stream TV. After this show is over, I usually end it like a minute or two, because I think on Stream TV it actually is like there's a little bit of a delay. There is like I don't think it doesn't normally start right at 9. It's like 1 or 2 minutes after that. I'm not sure what the delay is, but anyways, it's at streammedia.tv. Go to streammedia.tv, and that's where you watch the ChillerNight programming throughout the night. So they had a Roku channel, I would in a little bit. I think in March, it's going to be a few weeks, and then I'll be meeting up. I'll be meeting up with. With Luke from Stream TV, and I'll ask some of this stuff and see if there's something in the near future about that, or if that's something that's an idea is kind of dead in the water. But I'll try to get, because I know I get a lot of questions about that, so I'll try to find out a little bit more about that. And I'm sorry I don't have an answer for it, because I just don't. you know, we'll find out. Can't hurt to ask. Brad says, break Stroker's Dracula. Break Bran. Okay, then he corrects it right after that. Paul says, also the reboot of the Creep Show on TNT. Oh, the series? Is that what you like? I love that. I thought that was neat. I like the first 2 seasons. The third one, I haven't seen all the episodes, so maybe they got better. But the ones that I did see, I thought the quality, and it could have been a thing with COVID, with the affecting the production. That's very possible, because people were just trying to get through it and the work through that the best they could. And I'm kind of chalking it up to that. Maybe the quality was a little, quite a bit less because of that. That very well could be. Or maybe it was just my opinion. Maybe it was just my opinion on it. But I didn't think it was near as good as the first 2 episodes. I thought it was very. I thought the episodes were poorly written. I thought they were way too. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not looking for some big, great um, production here when I'm watching Creepshow. I mean, the same as the comics. It was always or Creepshow, or I'm thinking of Tales of the Crypt, the comics. When you're looking at something like that, there's no big, great plot twist you're expecting or anything like that. It's just a fun thing to watch. I think you can kind of figure out where they're going with the story and who's going to get theirs in the end. But it's still fun to watch. It's no less fun to watch. But I did see the quality of all that really, in my opinion. Like I said, I didn't see all of them, so it's unfair for me to say that about the entire season. But just a handful of episodes that I did see. I think I saw 4 of them. Like, pick it up a little bit, guys. Guys and girls. Let's see. David says the Richard Matheson novel is called I Am Legend. I Am Legend. Okay, there you go. The Gore, the book is called I Am Legend. That's it. Tom says probably the most underrated movie of John Carpenter's was Assault on Precinct 13. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You don't hear that mentioned. Even, I don't, as much as I like John Carpenter, and then of course they made the remake, but yeah, that's right, back in '76. Though it is a cult film now. True, very true. That's a good one. Vigor says Bela Lugosi had the personality. Oh yeah, he had the, but even the voice. I think, honestly, between he and Christopher Lee, I like watching the Hammer movies because it takes me back somewhere when I was a kid. That Chiller Theater nostalgia memory. There's just that atmosphere of Chiller Theater when I'm watching that. But between Christopher Lee, nothing against Christopher Lee, thought he did a good job as Dracula. But I like seeing Bela Lugosi as Dracula far better. There's something when Bella's doing that character that doesn't seem human in a way, because of I don't know, there's something about when he's talking, and I know it's not his, and I think that this actually plays for the better here. It's not his native language, of course, English. So when he's talking, there's an unnatural pause or something, or the pronunciation. But I think it works great because he's playing a horror character, but I also think it adds to that creepiness, like it's an unnatural thing for this monster to be maybe communicating even the way that a human would. I don't know. There's something about it that I really enjoy watching his performance as Dracula, and also, well, Christopher Lee is like this too. But those vampires there, Christopher Lee's and Bela Lugosi's, they are not. There's no mistaking these for. Well, I wonder if they could turn. Remember who they were and turn back to. Now, I'm not talking about the Francis Ford Coppola movie, but go back to those guys and look at them. They just like they are a true demon, or this monster. There's no shred of humanity in those characters, and I like that. That's how a vampire should be. Um, some people like the other stuff, the drama, the Twilight, or whatever. But in saying that, I did enjoy the 92, 93 with Francis Ford Coppola with gosh, the name of the actor, Gary. I can't believe I can't think of his name. You know who I'm talking about. I did enjoy that movie. Not everything about it I enjoyed, but I think it's an enjoyable movie to watch. David says Toby Hooper directed Salem's Lot. I know. I remember that being mentioned earlier in the chat as well. Yeah, he did an excellent job with that. Ghoul World Order says, "What are your thoughts on Life Force?" Oh my gosh, that's one I haven't seen for so long. The Toby Hooper movie about the space vampire who drained life force energy instead of blood. I remember seeing that. In fact, you had brought up Keith's dad, I think, if I'm getting the username right, had brought up the Reanimator earlier. And honestly, like, I think in the same night I watched Life Force and the Reanimator. And we were just having a big, horror movie fest, at that time, and I think that those were the two movies that we watched. I thought it was entertaining. And that one had Patrick Stewart in it. I seem to recall him being in that one. Yeah, I was entertained by that. Paul says, "I need more Four Loko." Oh, better go get some. Cassandra says, "Another vampire favorite for me is Blood for Dracula, also titled Andy Warhol's Dracula." Ah, cool. I gotta admit, I don't think I've seen that one. I know which one you're referring to, but I don't think that I've actually seen that one. Vigor Warrior says Lugosi played Dracula in stage first, right, in the 20s. He's played that part many, many, many times. Many times. They say I think they said maybe 1,000 times. I don't know. That might be an exaggeration, but I remember watching a documentary on that, and them saying he had played that part so many times that before he did the 1931 version. So he learned how to draw the audience into his performance. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe that was all. I'm sure that had a lot to do with the way he was speaking then. That's interesting. I love hearing stuff like that. Tom says Lugosi defined the modern Dracula. Most every vampire flick since has been a departure from his interpretation. Not to say no one hasn't improved on it. Yeah. But his was, it is interesting if you think about it. Now, of course, it was mentioned here just now that he had played that part on stage, but at some point, the actor had to, and maybe a director had a lot of input on it as well, but an actor at some point has to really own that character, and he definitely. What do you think of when you think of Dracula? It's Bela Lugosi, so he certainly owned it and projected that in a favorable way to the audience and to the world. Really, who do you think about when you think of Dracula? I think most of us have that image of Bela Lugosi, not the one that you read of. You read the description in the novel. It certainly isn't what we see from Bela Lugosi, but I don't know. I think he makes a more fun vampire to want to watch. Um, Paul says, and your guide host was Snake Plissken. Snake Plissken. Terrence says, the only baby. Where am I? Oh, Baby Shark. The only. How did I see that? How did I see a word at the end of the sentence when I'm looking at the first two? Okay, let me try this again. The only video that will be allowed on YouTube will be Baby Shark. Who knows? I don't know. They're so weird. They are. They're just so weird. Paul says Life Force, very good. Captain Picard was in it. Yeah, I thought Patrick Stewart was in that one. Um, Paul says, can you put on another network like public access? Well, I don't know. Like I explained last week, and holy cow, we are coming up on the 10-minute mark. Uh, Public access, it is on Stream TV. Let me explain. It is, we had the public access channel, the local TV channel, and it's called Venango Video, it was called WREC, and then in 2017, Stream TV came in and took over management of the station. Now, one of the neat things it did was it not only plays on the local TV channel, but they also, they play it online. It's streamed, so it was streaming on the TV, the local TV channel. It was streaming online, and it was also streaming on their Roku channel at the time, anyways. So it was going out in 3 different ways, and now it's going out in 2 different ways. But it is on a public access TV channel. Now I have had the show playing on various TV channels over the years across the country, like the local access ones, not a big channel, but and it just got too much for me to keep up with. Honestly, it did. It really did. I just like if it was my job, I could definitely do it, but it just got to be too much. So I keep it at one place, or Chop Block TV. You see the logo over here. That is another one that it plays on as well. So of course I appreciate anybody who plays it. Um, Tom says, yeah, you can shout the fair use clause into your monitor even if you have the best argument to support your case. It does no good if YouTube won't provide anyone for you to present your case. Right. It's frustrating because I don't ever get to talk to somebody. Like I said last week, like if I'm playing a public domain movie, is there a snippet of something in that movie? And they used it. Now, I have been told, like, at this point, this is between here and here is the content in question. I can deal with that because I can look at that and say, oh, it's a song playing on the radio in the background, but that's copyrighted. Okay, I don't know enough about the law, civil law. I don't know. I've never been in that. Mine was always criminal law, not civil. So I don't know that. If somebody were to tell me that that's the case, I'd probably have to take their word for it because I don't personally know that, or I'd have to look that up. But now it's just like, no, you're in violation. Wow. Explain that to me specifically, not just covering, a blanket complaint and saying, no, that's in violation. What part specifically are you talking about? I would love to know that. I would love to know that. Why would they have shut me down last week when I was playing Dementia 13? That just boggles my mind. I have no... All right. Yeah, Brad says the question to YouTube is why? No. John says, if anyone is interested, the company that has released the new version of Bela Lugosi as Dracula is releasing a version of Bela as Major Lenger. I always get Lenger. I know you're talking White Zombie from the classic movie White Zombie. And also, they're releasing a Dracula based on how he appears in the novel. Ooh, that's cool. You know, I actually, as much as I love Dracula and his performance in Dracula, I gotta say, and I think Jack Shadow even mentions this on the version of White Zombie that we do for Chiller Night Theater. Because I remember thinking this at the time, and I'm writing a dialogue. But I think that his performance in that movie rivals his performance in Dracula. I really do. I think he did an outstanding job in that movie, White Zombie. Um, I really enjoy watching that. Ghoul World Order says, we are still looking into hosting public domain horror movies on our channel. We're trying to figure out if there's anything we need to do so it doesn't get unrightfully flagged. Well, good luck if you can figure that out. Let me know if you figure out any secrets, because I'd like to know that myself. But good luck to you. I hope you're able to pull that off. Brad says you should personally call YouTube and tell them what is going on around here. I don't know how to do that. I really don't. I don't know if there's a contact number. Is there a contact number? And all the time I've been on YouTube, I've never seen one, but maybe that's not to say there isn't. Someone would talk to me about it. I'd love to. Or if I could call, yeah, if I could call, I'd call. Jason says, that's right, Chili Billy played a lot of Hammer Horror. Oh, yeah, I have, when I watch the Hammer Horror, um, I get that immediately. It goes back to the child Brian watching Chiller Theater, because that's where I saw a lot of that stuff on Chiller Theater. I always think of that. Takes me back. Ghoul World Order says, how did you like Frank Langella's portrayal of Dracula? Oh, I thought that was an enjoyable movie. I thought he did a good job. You know, it's nothing like. We got 5 minutes. Okay, it's. I watched the performance. I enjoyed it. It didn't make the impact like Bella or Christopher Lee, but I thought he did a good job. Fun movie to watch. A little different, but yeah. Bella. Paul says Bella never showed his fangs. It was a good mine if. Yeah, it's true. He never did show his fangs. Didn't have fangs in that movie. Bella was smooth, Sheila says. Hey, Sheila, thanks for joining us tonight. I didn't know, by the way, if this was going to be on YouTube tonight. In fact, I was surprised to see YouTube viewers on here tonight. I really had no idea. So, those of you who I wrote and you saw that it was just going to be on Facebook tonight, I'm sorry, but I am pleasantly surprised that it's on YouTube as well. Tom says Gary Oldman. Oldman! Why couldn't I think of that? Yes, Oldman. That's it. Thank you. John says Gary Oldman. Okay, that's how far back I am. Wow. Yeah, Gary Oldman's version of Dracula came out in '92. Google Order says. Sheila says Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, that was a good one. I did it, and I enjoyed it. One thing about me, I'm not like some people when you say a certain movie or director, and that's when they become a horror movie historian, and some people get really uppity about that stuff. They're like, I don't know, I'll Google stuff or I'll go from memory, but I'm not I'm definitely, if I like it, I like it. I'm not, I don't know. You know what I mean, though? You have to know what I mean. Some people are very snobby about it, like, we don't get that here, right? I don't do any of that stuff. I just say what I say, and, that's my opinion about it. Like Night of the Living Dead. I love that movie. It's a good movie. Very good. But if I were to go out right now and watch the original Night of the Living Dead or Tom Savini's, well, really George Romero, but Tom Savini directing the 1990 version, I'd go out and watch the 1990 version just because I have fun watching that movie. I think it's a fun movie to watch. Does that mean it's better? No. It just means that, there's something about that that kind of, I have fun watching it. I'll put it that way. It's no more complicated than that. It's just a fun one for me to see. Um, I thought he did a great job. But if I were really worried about the film critic, I'd sit there and, well, this one here and this one, I don't know how to do that half the time. I was just like, I like the movie. I didn't care for it. Like The Last Jedi, that one, I have no reservations about sharing my opinion on that heaping pile of garbage. Let's see. But if you like it, that's great. I'm not gonna, browbeat you about it. If you like it, you like it. Um, Boy, there's a lot of comments here, and it is 8:59. Oh my gosh, I missed so many comments. I'm sorry, but thank you all for joining me and each other tonight. Hope you had a good time. There's so many that I didn't get to. I'm sorry, but yeah, thank you. That's a good problem. That's a good problem. I don't know if it's even a problem, but hey, have fun tonight watching Dementia 13. I don't really have time to go over the whole thing, but Dementia 13 is coming right. Why not? Robot Monster, Creeping Terror, and Screaming Skull. And if you need to check that out, the times again, go to streammedia.tv. They always have their schedule available there. So thank you for joining me tonight. Good to see YouTube folks on here as well. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night. We'll see you next week.